What's up, everybody? Go ahead and if you're on, you can go into the chat and tell me who's here and who's joining us today. I'll leave a couple more minutes to let people get logged on or send me a message if you're having trouble getting on. Can everybody hear me okay? Like I said, over on the right, go ahead and just type in a message and let me know if you are or who's all here. So hi, Marcus. Hi, Kamari. Hi, Abby. And Angel. Looks like we're getting a good amount of our class in. That's awesome. Maite. Kamari. Hi, Hannah. I'll wait a few more minutes just to let everybody get on, and then I'll start reading for us. Hi, Isabella. So ideally, what we would be able to do is get this book finished by the end of the school year. This seems to be going pretty well. We have a lot of people getting on for the most part. Thinking about how many kids we have in our class, that's a pretty good number for who's able to get on. Hi, Brooklyn. So we will try and get this book finished. We might end up adding another day to where we start reading on Fridays. We'll see how it goes for the first 2 weeks. But I think it's a really good book, so I want to make sure that we get through it. So I'll give about 1 more minute, and then we'll go ahead and start reading. Hi, Miss Abel. Miss Abel's awesome and is joining us today. Hi, Christy. Hi, Bryn. I'm really excited about this because we have a lot of people from school, our school, and other schools, not other people who aren't from our school joining. So it's exciting to see everybody jump on. About 30 more seconds, and then I'll start. All right, so as we're thinking, as I'm going to be reading today, I want you to be thinking about a connection that you make to the story. What does this story make you think about? Even what does it make you feel? I love the fact that you guys are able to sit at home and just be comfortable and read, but I want you to be thinking about the text. What can we take away? What can I learn from our main character? And then at the end, I'm going to try and, hi, Jonah, do a better job of giving you guys more time to respond, to just tell me what you're thinking about the story or how it made you feel or how it would make you feel if you were in the character's shoes. Does that make sense? All right. All right, here we go. So chapter 4 of Out of My Mind. Doctors. Where do I start? Doctors really don't get me. Mom's a nurse, so I guess she speaks their language, but they sure don't know how to talk to me. I've seen dozens of doctors in my life who all try to analyze me and figure me out. None of them can fix me, so I usually ignore them and act like they're the dumb person they think I am. I paste on a blank look, focus on one wall, and pretend their questions are too hard for me to understand. It's sort of what they expect me to do anyway. When I turned 5, it was time to think about enrolling me in school. So my mother took me to a doctor whose job was to figure out how smart I was. She wheeled me in, locked the brakes so my wheelchair would not roll, and made sure that my lap strap was fastened. When my seatbelt comes undone, and it does that every once in a while, I slide out of the wheelchair like a piece of wet spaghetti. The specialist was a very large man. The bottom button of his shirt had come undone, and his stomach poked through above his belt. Gross. My name is Dr. Hughley, he said in a booming voice. For real, I couldn't make this stuff up. We're going to play a game today, okay? I'll ask you some questions, and you get to play with the toys here. Won't that be fun? I knew it was going to be a long, long hour. He brought out a stack of well-used, hopefully not lead-tainted wood blocks, then leaned in so close to me I could see the pores in his face. Gross. Can you stack these according to size? He said loudly and slowly, as if I was hard of hearing and really stupid. But who was being stupid? Didn't he know I could grab the sorry, didn't he know I couldn't grab the blocks? Of course I knew which block was bigger than the other, but I couldn't stack them if he paid me money. So I just took my arm and swept them all onto the floor. They all fell with a wooden clatter. I tried not to laugh as he picked them up. He breathed really hard as he reached for them. Next, he held up a glossy 8x10 card with different colors painted on each one. Tell me which one you see the color blue, Melody, he said in his voice that told me he thought that this was all a waste of time. When the blue card showed up, I pointed to it and made a noise. Buh, I said. Marvelous, tremendous, stupendous, he shouted. He praised me like I had just passed the test to get into college. If I could have rolled my eyes, I would have. Then he showed me green, so I kicked and made a noise, but my mouth can't make the G sound. The doctor looked disappointed. He scribbled something on his clipboard, pulled out another stack of cards, and said loudly, I'm going to ask you some questions now, Melody. These might be hard, but do your best, okay? I just looked at him and waited while he placed the first set of cards in front of me. Number 1, which of one of these is not like the others? Did he get this stuff from Sesame Street? He showed me pictures of a tomato, a cherry, a round red balloon, and a banana. I know he was probably looking for the balloon as the answer, but that just seemed too easy. So I pointed to the banana because the first 3 were round and red, and the banana was not. Dr. Hughley signed and scribbled more notes. Number 2, he said. He showed me 4 more cards. This time, there were pictures of a cow, a whale, a camel, and an elephant. Which animal gives birth to a calf? Now, I watch Animal Planet all the time. I know for a fact that all the animals he had pictured there had a baby called a calf. I thought doctors were supposed to be smart. What to do? I hit each picture slowly and carefully, then I did it once more just to make sure he understood. I don't think he did. I heard him mumble, cow, as he wrote more notes. It was clear he was giving up on me. I noticed a copy of Goodnight Moon on his bookshelf. I think it was written in Spanish. It was called Buenos noches, Luna. That would have been fun to look at, but I had no way of telling him I'd like to see the book. After watching Sesame Street and Dora the Explorer a million times and sitting for hours watching the Spanish channels, I could understand quite a bit of Spanish. It was spoken slowly, if it was spoken slowly enough. I knew at least enough words to read the title of that book. He never thought to ask me about that, of course. I knew the words and melodies of hundreds of songs, a symphony exploding inside my head with no one to hear it but me. But he never asked me about music. I knew all the colors and shapes and animals that children my age were supposed to know, plus lots more. In my head, I could count to 1,000, forward and backward. I could identify hundreds of words on sight. But all of that was stuck inside. Dr. Hughley, even though he had been to college for like a million years, would never be smart enough to see inside of me. So I put on my handicap face and I took my mind back to last summer when Mom and I went to the zoo. I really liked the elephants, but talk about stink. Actually, Dr. Hughley sort of reminded me of one of them. My mom and the doctor had no idea why I was smiling as we rolled into the waiting room while he wrote up his evaluation of me. It didn't take long. I'm always amazed at how adults assume I can't hear. They talk about me as if I'm invisible, figuring I'm too retarded to understand their conversation. I learned quite a bit this way, but this conversation was really awful. He didn't even try to soften the news for my mom, who, I'm sure, felt like she got hit by a truck. I'm going to take this moment to stop here. The word retarded is not something that should come out of any of y'all's mouths, okay? Anyways, he began by clearing his throat. Mrs. Brooks, he said, it is my opinion that Melody is severely brain damaged and profoundly retarded. Whoa, even though I was only 5, I had watched enough Easter Seals telethons to know this was bad, really bad. I felt a giant thud in my gut. My mom gasped, then said nothing for a full minute. Finally, she took a deep breath and protested quietly, but I know she's bright. I can see it in her eyes. You love her. It's only normal to have wishful thinking, Dr. Hughley told her gently. No, she has a spark. More than that, a flame of real intelligence. I just know it, my mother insisted, sounding a little stronger. It takes time to accept the limitations of a beloved child. She has CP, Miss Brooks. I know the name of her condition, doctor, my mother said with ice in her voice, but a person is so much more than the name on a diagnosis on a chart. Good try, Mom, I was thinking, but already her voice was losing its edge, melting into mushiness of helplessness. She laughs at jokes, my mother told him, the ice in her voice replaced by desperation. Right at the punchline. My mom's voice faded. What she was saying sounded ridiculous even to me, but I could see she just couldn't find the words to explain her gut feeling that I had some smarts stuck in here. Dr. Hughley looked from her to me. He shook his head and then said, "You're lucky she has the ability to smile and laugh, but Melody would never be able to walk on her own or speak a single sentence. She would never be able to feed herself, take care of her own personal needs, or understand anything more than simple instructions. Once you accept that reality, you can deal with the future." That was just plain mean. My mom hardly ever cries, but she did that day. She cried and cried and cried. Dr. Hughley had to give her a whole box of tissues. Both of them ignored me while she sobbed, and she tried to find nice words to say to make her feel better. He didn't do a very good job. Finally, he gave her options. "You and your husband have several decisions to make," he told Mom. "You can choose to keep her at home, or you can send her to a special school for the developmentally disabled. There aren't many choices here locally." Where do they get these almost pleasant sounding phrases to describe kids like me? Mom made a sound that could have been the mewing of a kitten. She was losing it. Dr. Hughley continued, "You can also decide to put Melody in a residential facility where she can be cared for and kept comfortable." He pulled out a color, 5 now. That's perfect age for her to learn to adjust to the new environment. You and your husband can get on with your lives without her as a burden. In the meantime, her memories of you will fade. I stared at Mom frantically. I didn't want to be sent away. Was I a burden? I never thought about it like that. Maybe it would be easier for them if I weren't around. I gulped. My hands got cold. Mom wasn't looking at me. She was staring daggers at Dr. Hughley. She crumbled up the tissue she held and stood up. "Let me tell you something, Doctor. There is no way in heaven that I will be sending Melody away to a nurse," my mother said as she angrily hurled the brochure into the trash can. "I think you're cold and insensitive. I hope you never have a child with difficulties. You'd probably put it out with your trash." Dr. Hughley looked shocked. "And what's more," she continued, "I think you're wrong. I know you are. Melody has brains hidden in her head that you'll never have, despite those fancy degrees from fancy schools you've got posted all over your walls." It was the doctor's turn to blink. "You've got it easy. You have all your physical functions working properly. You never have to struggle to be understood. You think you have a medical degree?" He was wise enough to keep his mouth shut and ashamed enough to lower his head. Mom was on a roll. "You're not so intelligent, sir. You're just lucky. All of us who have all our faculties intact are just plain blessed. Melody is able to figure out things, communicate, and manage in a world where nothing works right for her. She's the one with true intelligence." She marched out of his office, then rolling me swiftly through the thick doors. In the hall, we did a quick fist bump. Well, the best I could manage. My hands were no longer cold. Go, Mom. Chapter 5. I've been at Spalding Street Elementary School for 5 years. It's very ordinary, filled with kids, just like the schools I see on television shows. Kids who chase each other on the playground and run down the hall to get their desk just before the bell rings. Kids who slide on icy patches in the winter and stomp in puddles in the spring. Kids who shout and push. Kids who sharpen pencils, go to the board to do math problems, and open their books to read a poem. Kids who write their answers on notebook paper and stuff their homework into backpacks. I know a couple of you that do that. Kids who throw food at each other in the lunchroom while they sip on juice boxes. Kids who sing in the choir, learn to play the violin, and take gymnastic or ballet or swimming lessons after school. Kids who shoot baskets in the gym, their conversations filled with halls as they make plans, make jokes, and make friends. Kids who, for the most part, ignore kids like me. The special needs bus, as they call it. It has a cool wheelchair lift in the back built in the door, and it picks me up every morning in front of my house. When we get to school, the driver takes their time to make sure all the belts and buckles are tight before they lower us all with walkers or wheelchairs or crutches or helmets down on the bus lift, one by one to the ground. Then an aide will roll us or help us walk over a wasting area. When the weather is bright and sunny, we sit outside the school. I like to watch the regular kids as they play foursquare while they wait for the bell to ring. They look like they're having so much fun. They ask one another to play, but no one ever asks any of us. Not that we could anyways. But it'd be nice if somebody would say hi. I guess the foursquare players must think we're all so backward that we don't care that we get treated like we're invisible. I was so excited when Mom first enrolled me here. I thought I'd learn new things every day, but mostly it was simple. simply something to do that took up time and got me out of the house. In second and third grades, I probably learned more from the sci fi or Discovery channels than I ever learned at school. My teachers were nice most of the time, but they would have needed x ray vision like Superman to see what was in my head. I'm in a special program with the other children with what they call disabilities. Our ages range from 9 to 11. Our learning community, what a joke, has been together since I started school. We never seem to move up and on like other classes. We just did what we did the year before, but with a new teacher. We don't even get a new classroom each year. So the same kids I'm with now were together in second grade with a teacher named Miss Tracy. As third graders, we suffered through Mrs. Billups, who would have got the award for the worst teacher in the world. There are 6 self-contained learning communities in the wing of the building. Children with various conditions, from preschoolers to kids who ought to be in high school by now. Our classroom, room H5, might be nice for babies, but give me a break. It's painted yellow and pink. One wall is covered with a sun with a happy face, a huge rainbow and dozens of flowers, also with smiley faces. The other wall is painted with happy bunnies, kittens, and puppies. Blue birds fly over the sky with perfect white clouds. Even the birds are smiling. I'm almost 11 years old, and if I have to look at puppies in paradise one more day, I'll think I'll puke. Ashley, the youngest in our group, actually does puke quite a bit. She's 9, but she could pass for 3. She has the smallest wheelchair I've ever seen. She's our fashion model. She's just plain beautiful. Movie star eyes, long curly hair, and a tiny pixie nose. She looks like a doll that you see in a box on a shelf, except she's prettier. Her mother dresses her in perfectly matching outfit every day. If she has on a pink shirt, she wears pink slacks, pink socks, and 2 tiny pink bows in her hair. Even her little fingernails have been done to match. When we do what the teacher and therapists call group activities, it's hard for Ashley to participate. Her body is really stiff, and it's tough for her to reach out or grab hold of anything. Every Christmas, they make the kids in H5 decorate a stupid 6-foot styrofoam snowman. I don't know what the children in the regular classrooms get to do, but I know it's close to the holiday time with whatever teacher we have that pulls this thing out of a closet. Mrs. Hyatt, the kindergarten teacher, loved that messed up snowman, just 3 huge balls of yellowing styrofoam stuck together with pins and pipes. "Let's decorate, children," she said in her squeaky and annoying voice. "We're going to play decorations with Velcro or toothpicks or glue, whatever works, on Sydney, our H5 holiday snowman." I don't know how old the snowman was at that point, but poor Sydney could not stand up straight. It leaned like a drunk who needed a wall to hold it up. Miss Hyatt gave green snowflakes. Green? We were the dumb kids. I guess we were supposed to care. Brown garland, stars in purple and pink. "Do you like the snowman, Ashley?" Miss Hyatt asked her. It's almost impossible for Ashley to communicate because her body is so tight. Her talking board has just 2 words on it, yes and no. She turned her head slightly to the left of her no. I bet she wished she could knock down the thing. Compared to Ashley, Carl is huge. Even though he's just 9, he's got special wheelchair that's extra wide, and it takes 2 aides to lift him in and out of it. But he's good with his hands. He can move his own chair, and he can hold a pencil well enough to write his name and grab a snowman. I'm going to see many more pages to the end of the chapter. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop there. So this would be your time to comment in the chat. What did this part of the reading make you think about? How were you able to connect with the story? What kind of thoughts were going through your head as we were listening to this? As you're typing, I'll tell you what I was thinking about. Whenever she was talking about the doctor not seeing her real abilities, makes me think about as a teacher, and if there's any students that I'm not seeing their real abilities. I know sometimes it's hard to get what's in our head out. It happens to me, especially when I get nervous. It's hard for me to say what I'm thinking. But I know that every child in my classroom is able to do something, and I need to help them reach that full potential. So that's what this story was making me think about so far. So go ahead and type in what you guys were thinking as we were reading today. I'll give it about 3 minutes for everybody to type in what you guys want to say.
Yeah, so I just had somebody ask me if I could ask my question again. Um, I want you guys to tell me what connections you made as you were reading. What were you guys able to, what were you thinking about? What did this make you think of? Yeah, what were you thinking about as we were reading? Um, how did you feel as we were reading? Anything like that. So Abby says she was thinking it was hard to get thoughts out when you're nervous. She was so frustrated with the doctor and couldn't express that to him. Yeah, she was sitting there as the doctor's trying to get her to do 5-year-old things, and she obviously is a genius and is able to do them, but doesn't have the ability to show the doctor that she can do that. So that would be extremely frustrating. Brooklyn says, we were thinking about how it was not fair how people treat kids with disabilities different than others and how they don't see the full potential of kids. Yeah, I think a lot of times it's easy for us to see somebody different than us and just treat them as if they're invisible, or we stare. We don't invite them to play along with us. And maybe this is something that we can learn about, knowing how those people feel. Um, Miss Abel said she was thinking the same thing as I was. Thank you. Hannah Hutman, maybe they were taking advantage of her. Jonah said that he thinks he wouldn't like it because you aren't being challenged and you couldn't learn new things. You could do lots more, but not given the chance. Absolutely. And I think as teachers, we do that to kids sometimes too, is we don't challenge kids because we assume, oh, they're 10 and we just keep it. We don't challenge kids as the way that we should. So you're absolutely right, Jonah. My cousin Lauren, the mother knew what was best for her child and loved her even with her disabilities and didn't consider her a burden. Yep, absolutely. Miss Abel said, I was thinking about how we are as teachers could do better in our classroom and push them to be the best version of themselves as well as ourselves. Kamari, I think she would be very nervous and frustrated. Maite, nervous and frustrated. Yeah. I think what's really awesome about this book is we get a perspective from someone that does have disabilities. And so we can learn about how those people feel so that maybe we can treat them differently and better in the future. Books are awesome because they can help us have a new perspective and make us think about things we've never thought about before. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you guys for jumping on. Our next one will be Monday at 1:00. For if you're in my classroom, then tomorrow we have a Zoom call at 9 a.m. So make sure that you get on Blooms and you check that out so that you can join in with that Zoom call and we can all see each other's face and you don't just have to stare at my ugly mug. And Angel said that she'd feel really bad. Absolutely. All right. And Maite, people are still coming in. Maite say it's not fair because you treat people different. Yeah, and I think we all do it, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally, but we all have to make an effort to be good to others and be kind. Okay. All right, guys. Good to see you. I love you guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy. It's not very warm outside, so you can't go out and play as easily, but if you bundle up, I'm sure you could go out there. Don't just sit on TikTok all day like I know some of y'all are doing. All right. All right. Bye. Oh, wait. Somebody's got a question. SJ channel. I don't know who that is, but go ahead. I don't know who SJ's channel is. What's your question, Makai? Good to see you on here. I'll send your mom a message about joining the call for the Zoom call tomorrow, okay? All right. Bye, guys.